morning, everyone. I was told to start the meeting with a joke, so if your name is Michael, raise your hand. Anybody named Michael? Mike? Well, there we go. Mike Mondel, of course. Michael okay, that's the mic check, so there you go. Thank you, Zach, for telling me that joke. I appreciate it. Well, good morning, and welcome to the annual membership meeting of the Danville Pittsylvania Chamber of Commerce. I'm Ann Moore Sparks, President and CEO, and it's a privilege to stand before you today as we gather not just to reflect on a year, but to celebrate a movement. Today is about growth and opportunity, growth and collaboration, and growth across our entire region. Today, we will review the accomplishments of 2025, introduce you to your Chamber Board of Directors, and share our vision for 2026. But this year carries special meaning. In 2026, we celebrate the 20th anniversary of the historic merger between the Danville Area Chamber of Commerce and the Pittsylvania County Chamber of Commerce. 25 years ago, leaders in this community, and many of you are here today who are part of this merger, made a courageous decision. They chose unity over division, vision over comfort, and growth over the status quo. That merger was more than structural. It was strategic. It was forward-thinking, and it reshaped how we approach business advocacy and economic development in this region. It declared that our future would be regional, that our success would be shared, and that together we would be stronger. And while we celebrate 25 years of regional cooperation and growth it has brought to our business community and communities, the work is far from done. Today is the day that we look forward to the next phase of regional leadership, to bold strategies that will position Southern Virginia for decades of sustained economic growth. And that brings us to one of the most exciting initiatives shaping our future, the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor, or BRIC. BRIC is Virginia's newest mega-region, a forward-looking initiative designed to accelerate long-term economic growth across Danville, Pittsylvania County, Martinsville, Roanoke, and the New River Valley, and every other county and community in between those. This is not, I'll tell you what it's not, this is not a branding exercise that you put on a shelf. It is a strategy. BRIC represents a coordinated approach to economic competitiveness supported by a 501c3 nonprofit structure that brings together senior business leaders, policymakers, economic developers, planning agencies, and community partners to align priorities and drive investment at a scale that our region has never pursued before. This is about more than geography. It's about coordinated leadership, competitive advantage, and it's about positioning Southern Virginia for sustained long-term success. To provide context for this mega-regional model, we are honored to welcome leaders from SIR, a strategic management consultancy founded in 1964 in Richmond. John Martin, President and CEO, and Rachel Yost, Managing Partner, will outline BRIC's vision, structure, and long-term economic impact. Following their presentation, John and Rachel will join a panel of regional business leaders, including Ben Davenport of First Piedmont Corporation and Tim Clark of Blair Construction. Together, they will explore what this mega-regional framework means for employers, investors, workforce strategy, and economic resilience across our broader region. But first, let me take a moment to thank our generous sponsors whose support makes this gathering possible. A heartfelt thank you to our presenting sponsors, Atlantic Union Bank and Dewberry. Our signature sponsors, Sova Health, First Piedmont, Hitachi, and MVP. Our event sponsors, Carter Bank, Goodwill Industries of the Valleys, PLDR Law, and First National Bank, and our banner sponsor, Gateway Health. Your investment in this chamber and in our region is truly appreciated. Yes, please. Today would truly not be possible without your generosity. I also want to recognize everyone who traveled across county lines and even state lines to join us this morning. A special welcome to our elected officials from Danville, Pittsylvania County, South Boston, and Halifax. Please stand so you can be recognized. All our elected officials. Don't be shy, come on. There you go. And a special thank you to Dr. Elda Stanko Downey with U.S. Senator Tim Kaine's office. Elda, where are you? Thank you. Thank you for being here. Please tell Senator Kaine that we appreciate all that he does for this region, and thank you for being here today. I would also like to recognize our friends and colleagues. You know, the chamber leaders and members were like a family, and this is so important to me that Eric Sechal, President and CEO of the Roanoke Regional Chamber of Commerce. Eric, stand up if you're here. Where's Eric? Thank you, dear, for coming. And Susan Throckmorton, President and CEO of the Halifax County Chamber of Commerce. Did Susan make it this morning? And Patricia Charles of the Clarksville Chamber of Commerce. Our chambers collaborate regularly to expand networking opportunities and foster connections across regions, ensuring that our members can engage with a broader business community. And now, through the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor, those connections are stronger than ever, linking our regions, our leaders, and our businesses in a coordinated effort to drive economic growth at a scale we've never seen before. At this point in the program, we'll hear from Dr. Shannon Hare, our 2025 chair, who will share insights on the many accomplishments of your chamber over the year. While Shannon is unable to join us in person, he has graciously prepared his remarks via video. We're excited to hear his perspective on the progress and successes that continue to strengthen our regional business community.
Good morning. Thank you for attending the Danville Pittsylvania Chamber of Commerce annual meeting. I am your board chair, Dr. Shannon Hare. Unfortunately, I'm not with you this morning as I'm down in Duplin County serving as president of James Front Community College. I'd like to first thank you all for the cards, for the messages, for the emails. It's been absolutely overwhelming, and I do appreciate your support. This transition has been fantastic, and it could not have happened without so many loved ones, business and industry from our community supporting this. Speaking of transition, the growth in our region is something special. It's actually something that we haven't seen in decades. The growth in our region is truly going to be tied to regionalism. And today's meeting this morning will be more in line with how we will accomplish that. It is worth noting that at the Chamber, record number of members, over 600, recognized in 2025 as we move into 2026, and I'm expecting that number to increase. So make sure that you're ready and you're out in the community doing what you need to attract new members. Don't do anything, but make sure you're out in the community attracting new members. We also have a new strategic plan that will be unveiled. I appreciate the board members last summer working on that, moving that forward. So hopefully you all will be engaged and want to be a part of that conversation as we move as we move the chamber forward. Also, we want to celebrate the 25th anniversary of our chamber. It was 25 years ago that the two chambers merged, and again, it was about unity. It was not about division, but coming together. We were demonstrating regionalism 25 years ago. And then also, We want to make sure that we complement all of the business and industry that are there with us this morning. Could not be a chamber without you. Speaking of transition, I think that it is worth noting the idea of what the Blue Ridge Innovation Partnership hopes to accomplish. Without Ben Davenport and his direction, his insight, and really his vision, this would not be possible. I'm really excited with this opportunity, Ben. Thank you for giving me the opportunity for being a part of this in years past, and most recently serving on a couple of committees to help move that conversation forward. Even though I'm down here in Bootham County, you all know when I come home on the weekends to see my family, I'll do all that I can to continue to support Danville, Pittsylvania County. So again, thank you all so much for this opportunity to greet you all, and look forward to seeing you again when I'm back in town. And at this point, we'll ask Philip Konekis to join the stage as he will bring attention to our media and innovation partners, recognize our outgoing board members, and announce our new incoming 2026 board members. If you all need anything, please let me know. Numbers stay the same. I can be home in just a couple of hours. Very exciting with this opportunity and this transition to move Danville, Pennsylvania, and this larger region forward through the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor. Thank you all, and have a great morning.
Thank you, Shannon, for those remarks and for your leadership this past year. At this time, I would like to recognize our innovation partners and media partners, organizations that are true leaders within our business community and strong investors in the work of the Chamber. Since 2023, participation in this program has grown 61%, reflecting the increasing number of businesses and organizations that see the value of investing in the Chamber's mission and in the growth of our region. Innovation partners are Chamber members who choose to invest at a higher level and in return receive a customized package of opportunities that aligns to their business goals with the connections, visibility, and engagement of the Chamber provides. In the interest of time, we have proudly displayed logos on the screen above. Thank you for your leadership and your investment in this Chamber. I'd also like to recognize two individuals whose service to the Chamber has made a meaningful impact. Today, we thank our outgoing board members, Varun Sadana and Dr. Mark Jones, for their 6 years of dedication and service. Varun and Mark, would you please come forward and accept a small token of our appreciation? And now it is my privilege to recognize the 2026 Board of Directors. As I call your name, please stand and remain standing so that we may recognize you. Dr. Shannon Hare, Chair. Angelica Matjak, SBA Home, Incoming Chair. David Hawker, First National Bank, Treasurer. Chris Albrecht, Caesars Virginia. Robert Borger, Axor. Charlie Vaden, Columbia Forest Products. Brian Bradner, Dewberry. Megan Gould, PLDR Law. Scott Waller, Truist Wealth. Rachel DeCampo Gatewood, River District Consulting. Mary Hammock, Farm Credit of the Virginias. Steve Mayhew, Pennsylvania County Schools. Ridge Williamson, Negro. Beverly Scruggs, Atlantic Union Bank. Mike Jones, Association of Energy Engineers, Intertape Polymer Group. And Madison Eads, the Hotel Collection. Thank you for recognizing their willingness to serve and for their leadership they provide to this organization. And now, as we continue to look forward to the future of our region, it is my pleasure to introduce a leader who understands the importance of strong businesses and strong communities. Ryan White serves as the Wholesale Bank Market President for Atlantic Union Bank, one of our valued presenting sponsors, and a longtime supporter of the Chamber and our regional business community. Atlantic Union Bank continues to play an important role in supporting economic growth across Virginia, and we are grateful for their partnership and leadership. Ryan will now share a few remarks and introduce our keynote speakers who will help us explore the vision and opportunity behind the Blue Ridge Innovation Council. Please join me in welcoming Ryan White.
Thank you, Philip, and good morning, everyone. It's great to see such a strong turnout this morning. On behalf of Atlantic Union, I want to say how proud we are to be part of the Danville and Pittsylvania County communities. One of our commitments here goes well beyond banking. We are invested in long-term success of the people, businesses, and organizations that make this region such a special place. At Atlantic Union, we believe strong communities are built through partnerships. This means supporting local businesses, working alongside civic leaders, and investing in the kinds of investments that create real opportunities for the next generation. When communities collaborate and align around a shared vision, that's when meaningful economic growth really happens. That's one of the reasons we are proud to be part of the Danville Pittsylvania Chamber of Commerce and the collaborative leadership taking place in this community. The momentum we're seeing across all Southern Virginia right now is extremely exciting. It is driven by people in this room that are willing to work together to think bigger about the future. The Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor is a great example of the kind of forward-thinking collaboration. It reflects the idea that the communities that work together, that compete more effectively, attract new investment, and create long-term economic success. To better help us understand this mega-regional model behind this effort, and the opportunity that it represents, we're fortunate to have two experts with us today from SUR, a strategic management consultant based out of Richmond. They have been advising organizations and regions for over 60 years. Joining us today are John Martin, President and CEO of SUR, and Rachel Post, Managing Director. They will help provide context around the mega region concept and share the insights in the vision, structure, and potential long-term impact of the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor. Please join me in welcoming John and Rachel.
Thank you, Ryan, and good morning, everyone. We have a very exciting story to share with you, and it's all about promise and really impact that we can have together. The Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor, our mega region's transformational moment. So I'm going to share with you a little bit about the what, sort of the context, and then Rachel's going to come here and get behind the why and the who's behind this and how we're moving forward. So this is going to be a rocket docket. We're going to have time for questions at the end, but I want to go through some of the highlights here. The first is the territory. Look at this map. The Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor today is Martinsville, Danville, Roanoke, and the New River Valley, and all the counties in between. So that's where we're starting as the territory we call the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor. And what is it in a nutshell? It's really a powerful voice of really business leaders saying we've got to generate more investment to really grow this area and have a sustainable growth and to have a future that we are intentionally shaping. So a great idea has many fathers, right? It's the same thing with mega regions. They're, about 60 years ago, we saw the first three get born. Research Triangle, Boston's Route 128, and California's Silicon Valley. And now this idea of just nearby cities working together and business leaders working with major academic research institutions, it's now become a model. But I want to go back in time and look at these three. There was a tipping point that really got them on the map, that really started this 60 years ago. And that tipping point was, yes, having a major research institution anchoring it right in the middle of those areas, but it was also the secret sauce of senior business leaders coming together and saying, we've got to move forward faster, and we've got to be united in doing this. We've got to get the investment we need and have a playbook to really make things happen on a mega region scale. And so since then, a lot of nearby cities have said, we should stop competing and join hands. We should start intentionally collaborating, this new model. They're called a lot of different things. Some people call them innovation districts, innovation hub cities, tech hubs, innovation corridors, or mega regions. And I like mega regions personally because we're solving mega region or mega issues and challenges. An interstate highway like I-64, it runs through a lot of jurisdictions. But I-64 is the lifeblood across a lot of Virginia. So who's really lobbying and advocating for that to be expanded? So when you look beyond borders, that's when business leaders can step up and make a difference in some places like Richmond where funding happens. So when you look across the country, you see a lot of mega regions have formed. A lot of it kind of centers on population areas because you have this near cities that can join together. But this idea of a mega region, it's actually alive and well in other continents. In Europe, there are 6 mega regions. Back home in the US, my favorite is the Cascadia Innovation Corridor. It's a mega region that includes, 2 countries. You've got Vancouver and Seattle and Portland. And they've got some really bold vision and dreams. They want to build a high-speed rail corridor that connects all of their jurisdictions. So a lot of the CEOs have come together. They meet every year. They have staff, and they're working on this vision to try to bring it together. Down in Florida, there's a group called the Florida High Tech Corridor. And this is 23-some counties and 4 universities. They all work together. They've gotten $80 million from federal grants. And they're sort of like Go Virginia, for those of you guys that know Go Virginia. But they work together. And we just had the CEO of the Florida High Tech Corridor come and speak at Richmond Hampton Roads Mega Region's annual meeting and listen to all that he had to share. So these collaboratives, or whatever you want to call them, they are very, very active. And we're following about 8 or 9 of them actively and watch what they do and learning the best practices from there. We don't have to look too far, though. Virginia has 2 very active mega regions. One is called RVA 757 Connects. And RVA is what we call Richmond as a nickname, and 757 is what we call Hampton Roads. But it's the I-64 Innovation Corridor, and it's the largest companies, the top CEOs from Richmond and Hampton Roads. And there's another mega region called the Greater Washington Partnership. But don't get fooled by that name. It really is Baltimore, Metro Washington, and Richmond all working together with a very impressive board that's leading the way. And their priorities are skills and talent, regional mobility to make that I-95 corridor multimodal, have trains running every hour from Richmond to Washington, and inclusive economic growth. So that's what they're focused on. The Richmond Hampton Roads mega region, the first priority was to get I-64 widened. Well, 2 years ago, the General Assembly found $650 million, and now that widening is actually happening. It's going to be finished by 2028. But multi-use trails, to have a trail to go all the way from Richmond to Virginia Beach, more passenger rail service, and our biggest priority for this mega region is digital infrastructure. We really want to become a global internet hub. When you look at the assets between Hampton Roads and Richmond, and you combine them, and realize that we're really only 100 miles apart, those digital assets cross borders. And when you look at them in totality, they put us on the international map of being a global internet hub. So when agentic AI comes and it's running all of our workforce programs, our workflows, we've got to have a lot of data centers and terrestrial networks and all of that. So you can bet that right now, this mega region is very active in chiming in on that debate that's going on in the General Assembly about removing the exemption on sales and use taxes for data centers. And so it's nice to have all the CEOs united to say, we can't let this happen. We got to honor a deal that's a deal. Well, when you look at all of the work around the country with with mega regions, there's about 7 rules or sort of the best practices, if you will. And the first one is it's led by really prominent business leaders that have stepped up and said, we've got to work together as one. And those leaders put in their own financial resources and provide a lot of intellectual power and meet on a regular basis and keep thinking about tomorrow and what do we do. Most of these are nonprofits, like the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor, and they have very clear priorities. And you're going to hear from Rachel Yost in just a minute about how BRIC is going about arriving at its initial priorities. All of them are research-based. They all are based on really solid insights on why our priorities are our priorities and how much we're improving. They communicate real frequently with all the stakeholders. They try to be as inclusive as possible, and they deliver results. That's the value proposition in business, to make a difference and to move a mega region forward. So that's the context in a nutshell. Rachel Yost is going to come up and share kind of the how this is all happening and who's behind BRIC. Rachel?
Thank you, John. Thank you, everyone. I'm so excited to be here with you all to share more about the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor. Again, this is a mega region perspective initiative movement connecting Danville, Martinsville, Roanoke, Blacksburg, and the New River Valley. And the reason that this is so important is by coming together, sorry, get the clicker right, is it really about countering misperceptions, making the case that we are Virginia's 4th economic engine and why that's so critical, and advocating for infrastructure. So that's kind of why we think this mega region initiative is so critical for this part of Virginia and for the Commonwealth overall. And as John mentioned, we have made a research-backed based case for why investment in this part of Virginia is so critical. Because we all know, you all know firsthand, that we were hit hard. There was a perfect storm that took place where there was the collapse of the tobacco industry, the collapse of the rail industry, NAFTA, moving all of those jobs overseas. And so this area was impacted significantly. And many people don't appreciate the incredible growth and reinvention that has been happening here. They continue to think, when they hear Danville, when they hear Martinsville, when they hear Roanoke, they think about these dilapidated buildings, that there's not growth, there's not innovation happening here. And it's a narrative that has taken place for decades, and people continue to believe that. And so as we got connected in at SIR and started talking with the leaders here, we said, the first thing we really need to do is to validate this hypothesis, to understand really what is this perception of the region. And so we talked to policymakers about a year and a half ago, and what we heard was really disheartening and validated what our hypothesis was. We heard things like, get a map, I don't really know where you're talking about. It's an economic wasteland. If people want jobs, they need to go to Northern Virginia. And so this was really an aha for us of, wow, there is an incredible need to package and tell the story of the incredible reinvention that's been happening here, because we really have recovered and we are an economic powerhouse again, and we're only just starting, that there's a lot of momentum, a lot of opportunity in this part of Virginia. And there's 7 stories that we can share. There's 100 stories that we can share, but just 7 quick stories that highlight this. When we look at Virginia Tech, they're the number 6 among all U.S. public universities. Their largest investor in research is the DoD. There's been expanding biotech and life sciences happening, especially in Roanoke with the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute. There's also a world-class healthcare system with Carillion and the incredible health innovation that's taking place there. We're in another one with the Institute for Advanced Learning and Research, and the intentional effort that's happened here over the past 20 years and what it has become, and the investment from the U.S. Navy is just one payoff of that. It's just truly incredible, and people don't know. When we talk about Danville, when we inform them about the incredible stuff that's happening just in this building, people are blown away. GoTech, also located here in other parts of the mega region, and training our workforce. And if you look at the labor side, there's over 1.5 million people in our labor shed within a 1-hour drive. Population growth, we are continuing to see data and new data that's just come out in like the past week showing that folks are leaving some of our core regions and they're moving to places like the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor. And so people are coming here, there's growth happening. And we also have potential for increased growth through the industrial sites here. There are 3 top industrial sites, including Berry Hill, which is the mega site, the largest in the Southeast. And so again, there's credible innovation and growth that's happening here, but what's missing is infrastructure. And we can't let infrastructure be a drag on our growth. And so that's really what we're focused on. We're looking at roads and air, rail, energy, water, digital infrastructure, workforce housing, childcare, and all those wraparound things that are needed for a vibrant economy and for workers to have the great quality of life and be an attractive place to locate. And so our case as the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor is for the policymakers of Virginia to more fully appreciate and invest in our region. And so we looked at the economic data and we built out a case to show why this is so critical. And it's because Virginia needs a 4th economic engine. So the first is when we look at Virginia compared to southeastern states, the data shows that we are lagging all of them in population, employment, and GDP growth. So when we look at employment growth, we were actually doing pretty well until about 10 years ago when we dipped below southeastern states, and it has continued to decline relative to the southeastern states where that gap has widened. So we are lagging all southeastern states in employment growth. And when we look at GDP growth, our GDP itself is not the lowest, it's kind of there in the middle. And so we often hear about how we have a pretty strong GDP, but when you look at our GDP growth, it's actually growing at a slower rate compared to all southeastern states. And our future population growth projections are not going to help matters. So we've historically had slower population growth compared to southeastern states, and when we look at projections out to 2035, we're going to have even slower population growth as a state. Meanwhile, Northern Virginia, which makes up 50% of our GDP, is showing some of the first signs of headwinds. We're seeing net domestic migration out of Northern Virginia for the first time, so their population is declining. We know that this, in a lot of ways, has been impacted further by DOGE and the DOGE cuts, having significant impact on the Northern Virginia region. We're even seeing a government trend of moving federal agencies out of Metro DC. And Northern Virginia is becoming alarmed, and they're taking action, and they're putting together a playbook themselves of the traditional playbook that we've been using no longer is working, and we have to rethink this. And so they're coming together to intentionally develop a strategy for how do they reinvent themselves, which is crazy to talk about our core economic engine reinventing itself. And at the same time, our top economic engines, including Northern Virginia, but also looking at Hampton Roads and Richmond, are also lagging our southeastern, or our peer regions. And so we looked at a number of comparison regions, a lot of them in the Southeast, but also several across the country. And when we can look at their average growth, we're seeing that Richmond, Northern Virginia, and Hampton Roads, all 3 are lagging our comparison regions when it comes to employment growth and GDP growth. And then when we look at the BRIC region, we see that there's a bright spot. We are Virginia's 4th economic engine. When you combine Danville, Martinsville, Roanoke, Blacksburg, the New River Valley, we are Virginia's 4th economic engine. And this is so critical as we look at the data that we just did. Virginia needs another economic engine. And if you think about it too, Richmond, Northern Virginia, and Hampton Roads are just 1/2 of the Commonwealth. And so this allows the full power of Virginia to be activated. And what's happening is that we're delivering surprising results. Because of this economic engine, we're seeing incredible growth in areas like advanced manufacturing, where we make up 8% of Virginia's population, but we've accounted for almost 20% of the manufacturing growth since 2020, and 33% of employment growth in advanced manufacturing since 2020. And BRIC's future employment projections suggest positive economic growth. And this growth is really because of the hard work of folks in this room and the partners in this and throughout the mega region. where we've been focused on diversifying industries. We've been investing in industrial sites and build-ready sites. We've been prioritizing workforce training and leveraging partnerships. And it's through that intentional economic development effort that we are seeing this incredible growth. And so now it's just about sharing that story, having people become aware of it, getting alongside of this, and really advocating that we need a fourth economic engine because the old way is not going to continue to allow Virginia to grow. And so they need us for continued growth. So with that, how are we doing this? Who's involved? Well, we're really made up of business leaders, as John shared. The mega region effort is really business-led. We are so privileged to have incredible leadership like Ben Davenport and Haywood Fralin as our co-chairs. It's just been an immense honor to work alongside them, and their vision is bold and audacious, and it's contagious. It's really exciting to be a part of that. And we have a really active executive committee. These folks have been meeting every other week for almost a year. So very dedicated. We've been moving very quickly to build our board, to do some initial economic data analysis, and start to build this case and build this advocacy and excitement. We've also built a broader board. We have over 50 influential business leaders throughout the mega region. I do want to just take a moment because several of you are in the room. If you are part of the BRIC Executive Committee and Board, will you please just stand up quickly? Thank you so much, and we are still continuing to build our board. We have several more seats that are available for folks who want to financially invest and be a part of the incredible work that's going on. So what are we doing? How are we going to advance this message? Well, we're really helping drive regional investment and growth. We're partnering with organizations. We want to be hyper-inclusive. Yes, we're business-led, but this will not work without really close partnerships. Been really excited to get to know the chambers throughout the mega region, the economic development leaders, the regional partnerships. These are essential, and so we're building those relationships. We have set up an official 501c3, and we've building our marketing collateral to help package and showcase our story. We've been spreading the word about BRIC, so meetings like this, we are very happy to come and share the story about BRIC and build other ambassadors and advocates throughout the mega region. We also have a plan to inform our policy leaders in building those relationships in Richmond and about investing in the BRIC mega region and infrastructure. And so it's really about establishing BRIC as a credible voice, telling them the story about how we are the fourth economic engine, and then investing in infrastructure. One of the first things that really got this whole effort started was around Route 220, and this has been our first priority. We know you all are familiar, this is a very critical artery in this part of Virginia and kind of cuts through the BRIC mega region. And it's so critical because if we think about all of the industrial sites, if all of that land was to get filled, that has the potential of 45,000 jobs. That's incredible growth. And so again, we need to be preparing the infrastructure to handle that and support that growth. And so roads are a key part of that. We did some economic analysis. We confirmed that the ROI of investing in road infrastructure and projects like Route 220, that for every dollar invested, there's a return of almost $7. And so it's really important, and there's going to be incredible payoff by investing in the infrastructure in this part of Virginia. But more importantly, and what we're really excited about, is advancing Vision 2050. This is our signature initiative. It's a once-in-a-generation. This was really dreamed up by Ben and Haywood, and we're so excited about it. We have several goals. It's about uniting the region around a shared identity, economic vision, and game plan. It's about restoring and advancing the economic power that this region has been and will be again. Advancing cluster scale-up, we're really focused on how do we build out hubs in advanced manufacturing and additive manufacturing, biotech and life sciences, national security and defense innovation. And there may be some other hubs and industry clusters that might surface, but how do we really intentionally grow these industry clusters into nationally recognized hubs where businesses want to locate here, that we are cutting edge in innovation? And how do we strengthen the workforce pipelines to prepare for those jobs and for that growth? What's the infrastructure that's needed? How do we find funding pathways to help make our growth sustainable over time and ensure lasting impact? And so with this effort, we're going to be building several different strategies, again, an advanced manufacturing strategy, a biotech life sciences strategy, defense national security innovation strategy, again, an infrastructure strategy, a funding strategy, and then a connectivity. How do we bring all of this together? And we're going to build it into and integrate it into an implementation playbook that's going to be our roadmap for the next 20, 25, 30 years into the future. And this is what we're really focused on. Again, we are highly intentional. We're about research-backed and being research-based. And so this work is going to help us identify our priorities moving forward. This effort, again, it wants to be hyper-inclusive. So we kind of have 3 different bodies that are overseeing this work. We have the BRIC Executive Committee and Board. We have a very active project team made up of 7 key leaders throughout the mega region that have been really helping us drive this forward. And we've built a steering committee with over 60 stakeholders throughout the mega region. And so this, again, while BRIC is business-led, we want to be partnering with the region and those that are doing a lot of this work. So this is an opportunity where we're bringing on board the chambers. We're so happy that Ann is a part of this. PDCs, EDOs, different organizations, foundations, Go Virginia. And so it's an exciting group. We've met several times already. We also have some elected officials on it because we want this to be owned, led, driven by the entire mega region and all of the leaders throughout the mega region. And so they're going to be lockstep throughout this whole process. We see the Vision 2050 planning effort taking the next 6 to 7 months to build out that plan. We issued an RFP. We want top-tier consultants helping us, those who have real experience in building these hubs, have real experience in identifying the infrastructure needs and planning that out. And we had 9 firms respond to our RFP, and we have narrowed it down to 2, and we're making that decision in the next week. And we're really excited, and this will be kind of full-scale launch by April. You don't need to worry about what's on this. It's just to indicate that we have a lot of work. So this is going to take us through the whole year. We have these different work streams. We're going to be, again, involving the entire community throughout the process, and it's a very intentional, thoughtful effort. We're building a research database so that the work that we're doing is built on the great work that's already underway, because we don't want to be duplicating any effort. We want to be additive, identifying the gaps, what can we get behind and help accelerate, and if something's missing, then fill that gap. So that's what we're about. We're really excited. We would love for you to get involved. There's opportunities to be on our steering committee, and hope that you will champion Vision 2050 as we make our way forward. But at the end of the day, if there are 5 things that you take away from our conversation today, it's that we are Virginia's 4th economic engine, and the Commonwealth needs to invest in us. We're a business-led nonprofit with the top companies and CEOs across the mega region. We're actively in partnership. We support and partner with organizations in cities and counties across our mega region. We're hyper-focused on scaling economic development opportunities and infrastructure using that mega region perspective. And our goal is to make the mega region an economic powerhouse again. So thank you. We now have an opportunity for a panel. I'll let John introduce that.
Great. Thank you, Rachel. That was great. Why don't you take a seat here? We're going to have Ben Davenport join us from First Piedmont Corporation, and Tim Clark from Blair Construction. And as you know, both these gentlemen are on our board, and we've got a number of questions, and then we're going to open it up. We have time for a few questions from you guys.
And what we were saying, we were down and out as a community, and how could we turn it around? So a small group of business leaders got together, and so we put together a playbook, And that playbook included that we needed an icon, a modern icon that made a statement that we were not dead, that we were alive, and that we were going someplace. And this institute was the vision that part of the vision. Mid-Atlantic Broadband, which is is one of the best fiber optic networks in really the country. We were deprived of being able to attract a lot of different industries because we didn't have adequate fiber. And so out of that, we started, the first fiber link was from Gretna to Danville. So I've often said from nowhere to nowhere. but I mean, because there wasn't anything really connected on either end. But anyway, it was the beginning, and it's an interstate system of fiber optics. So but my point is that it was a playbook put together 25 years ago. The group that put that together still meets every month. And we are on a mission that to stay focused. Well, we need to, as we have grown and prospered, we realized, I think really in Go Virginia, we saw the effect of regionalism being how important it was. So we said, good friend David Fralin and I were talking, and others were talking from Henry County and Tim Sands at Virginia Tech, that hey, together we're powerful, and there's a lot of infrastructure development that needs to be made if we're really going to be successful. And we can't make that case unless we make it a case altogether. So out of that, I'm glad to say that one of the statements, one of the things that we were able to accomplish last year was a $90 million, that's more than walking around money, that is going to be invested on the 220 project that we figure is one of the big infrastructure parts that needs developing. But some group has to be making these statements, and certainly the General Assembly, I think if you talk to virtually any General Assembly member now, they know who the brick is, that the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor is a happening place. And if you want to have big tax revenue to help support the Commonwealth of Virginia, one of the ways you do it is make some investments, and that's really what our playbook in there that we want to develop is all about, is that, hey, these are the things that we need in order to be really successful. We're going to be successful. I mean, each pod that's in this arena is successful, but it's going to be much more dynamic and successful if we get the right kind of infrastructure development and investments in roads and airports, etc. Thank you.
All right, thank you, man. So Tim, timing is everything. So why does the BRIC initiative matter right now?
Well, there's a couple of reasons why it matters right now. But before I answer that question, I just want to go back and tag on to what Ben said. This concept of regionalism hasn't always existed. We heard from Ann earlier this morning talking about the chamber joining the county. I was on the board of the county chamber when the county and the city chamber merged together. But before that, on this very ground where we sit, the city of Danville and Pittsylvania County came together to form a regional authority to be able to build this institute. We learned, starting in 1999, that working together, we can get more done. And it really, this concept of regionalism, has grown over the last several years with Go Virginia, right? Because our footprints, we started to make bigger footprints that matter. And we bring, when I chaired Go Virginia, what I always said was, Go Virginia, our region, our superpower was bringing people together. It wasn't the fact that we had money to give. It was the fact that we were able to bring people together that had never been together before, because they lived in their own silos, in their own communities, and they didn't really work across these invisible lines. And so now we're talking about a mega region, which is really what I call mega regionalism. I think we can move the world with it. The reason it matters right now is we've got to control like our reputation. You see the quotes that SIR gathered from legislators when they met and said, what do you think about this region? And they're like, where is that? I don't even know where it is. They're doing stuff there. We have world-class things that are happening here. You all are part of these world-class things. You know about these world-class things. We've got Hitachi is going to be making more transformers here than any other transformer manufacturer in the United States in our footprint. We've got all kinds of success stories like that we need to be sharing. We need to be protecting. We need to be publishing where we are now and helping people to forget the old buildings that we've torn down or revitalized to make new things happen. We've got to be more competitive. You know, if you follow state government at all, you know that there are some not great things that are happening in state government right now, and some movement that kind of could hurt business. There's no better time for us to come together and stand up as a whole region, as a mega region, displaying in full display our mega regionalism. The fact that we're willing to work together, work across these invisible lines to be able to make our world a better place. North Carolina is beating down the door. They're doing everything that they can do to attract industry away from us. They're building more houses than we're building. They're doing all the things. We have got to catch up to those things, and we've got to publicize the awesome things that are already happening. And we need a plan. So the Vision 2050 model is going to be a world-class plan that is put together by experts with input of all of the regional leaders that you've seen and heard from, and it is going to give us a roadmap. You can't get anywhere unless you know where you want to go and you have a map to get there. So we're gonna identify those things, and that's our plan.
That's great. So, yeah, that was very
Central Scoring Vision 2050 is going to be a map where we're headed. All right. Well, Rachel, what's at stake? When you think about this big vision, what's at stake if we don't go this forward?
Everything. No, I mean, if you think about, again, referencing some of what we heard about the policymakers' perspectives, but also if you just think about the representation politically, our numbers individually, we're going to be missing out on a lot. And so when we come together, that representation, that number, that clout increases significantly. And we've seen that happen as an example with the RVA 757 Connects, the power that mega region has and the political clout that comes together when those leaders come together. And so that's what we're trying to do here. And if we don't have that, we're going to miss out and we're not going to have the impact politically and get that infrastructure investment and other recognition.
Great. Okay. So we're in Danville now. So Ben, son of Danville, what do you think about Danville in terms of this whole brick initiative? What are the benefits for Danville and the role for Danville?
Well, we recognize that there are 4 pillars in the Blue Ridge Innovation Corridor, and we are anchoring one end of it. You know, in pockets like in Navy, we are renowned. When the admiral who heads up the Atlantic Fleet comes here and makes a presentation, and he says, "Let me tell you what y'all did to get a ship that we had in San Diego going." And we made a part here that with our additive manufacturing that, and if you don't think Navy knows about us, I mean, we're renowned as the quintessential training facility for advanced trades. But all right, so we're making a statement. Let me tell you, Roanoke is making a statement in medical research. And certainly Virginia Tech and the River Valley, what more can we say about that? But I think that we need to be, we're an anchor. We good. And if you don't think we're good, just look around. And if you, and it ain't bragging if it's the truth.
All right, so Tim, we always get this question like, well, wait a minute, we've got economic development authorities, local and regional, and then we've got chambers across the whole BRIC region. How can you explain the role of BRIC as additive?
This is a super fun question for me as the guy that just led the fundraise campaign for SDRA, our Regional Economic Development Association, and being part of BRIC, because you have to answer those questions. Is there going to be duplication of goods and services? And I think Rachel did a great job in the presentation, kind of explaining, no, it's not going to be duplication. This is additive. So economic development organizations have their place doing deals. Regional Economic Development Association helps organize all those economic development organizations within their footprint, and hopefully does some leadership development, for businesses. The chamber is the voice of business, is an advocate for a business, puts together things like this so we can learn, so we can grow, so we can get to know each other, so we can collaborate. And then they're part of the state chamber, right, which is a voice of business to Richmond and to Washington. What we're doing is a new lane, right? It's kind of like an overarching lane, or if we were building a cake, right? We've got all these layers that make the cake great. We are now covering the cake with BRIC. It is a mega regional opportunity where we can bring lots of different folks together that believe the same things that we believe in our heart. The things that Ben talks about every different region has kind of a specialty or a capstone thing or a dozen capstone things that we can celebrate. We will bring all those things together so that we can celebrate them. It's a new complementary lane that crosses all these imaginary geographical borders. And so we're going to fill in the gaps, right? We're going to help to create a guiding document that will help us to market the region, have a strategy, find those overarching issues like 220, right? We've been trying to fix, local folks have been trying to fix 220 forever, right? Ever since the interstate didn't go through there, they've been trying to fix it. We got together the mega region, and now we've got movement. Now we've got movement on being able to fix it. And I don't think we could have done that with just 3 or 4 businesses, but when you put 50 businesses and you have that voice behind you, all of a sudden you start to move the needle, and that's the overarching goal.
Okay. Rachel, you did a good job explaining Vision 2050 as the signature initiative, and we'll create the playbook. So what do you think it's going to take to go from vision to actually action and to make the playbook come to life?
Yeah, well, exactly. It is a playbook, it's a roadmap, but for it to be something that doesn't stay on the shelf, it takes people. It takes everyone in the region, and that's why we've been so intentional with the steering committee and getting the leaders, the doers throughout the entire mega region to be on board with us, to provide their voice. And so we hope that everyone will champion it and continue to advance it moving forward. So it can't be done without each one of you in this room for years to come.
Yeah. And so that steering committee that's been recruited and has all kinds of people, and really a transparency with the website and all the materials and all the proposals that we shared with the steering committee. So maybe after it's over, the steering committee becomes something else, an advisory committee. That's the way it works in some other mega regions. But this is meant to be a total transparent initiative, right? Okay. Well, we do have time for just a couple of questions if we haven't answered everything. Anybody right now want to lobby a question up here? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think, I apologize, I'm Frank Weiss, and I'm just taking my question. When you talk about other megatropolis, mega areas, what really helps them a lot is transportation, right? Charlotte did something similar as the 2050, where they did a 2030. And part of that 2030 initiative was real big transportation hub. So they commuted big train, and Charlotte is connected by train to its outer region. Driving, thank you. Driving from Charlotte to Raleigh takes about 2.5 hours. But people can jump on the train and get there in about 30 to 45 minutes. And this has helped massively because people are able to go from the financial district to the research triangle and back in the same day. Driving from Danville to Richmond or Roanoke is also similar. It takes a couple of hours. So how can we connect our cities together and cut down that commute time so we can travel throughout the BRICS region a little bit faster?
And that's a great question. And it started with a premise that infrastructure is key, and particularly mobility. So one of the things we were really careful in the RFP process, and I hope you appreciated the logos on that slide, is some of the world's biggest companies are interested in helping us. So we're close to locking in on one. But we made it clear that we needed international experts on bio-life sciences to really help us with that hub building, scaling it. We also want somebody with advanced manufacturing and additives, so somebody that can come in and really has built other advanced manufacturing hubs around the country, around the world. So we're looking really carefully to make sure we have that expertise. We purposely, intentionally carved out infrastructure to say that's a separate body of work and work stream as part of Vision 2050, because it's so important. And we have to get a few arguments about it. Some people, we said, no, it's not part of any one of these hubs, it's part of all of them. And so that's what we're doing. But great question, great insight, thank you.
I appreciate you.
Okay, how about someone else? Yes, ma'am.
I just have the mic.
Go ahead, you must have a question.
I'll take it and then you can take it. I've been in Danville for a while, building a business here in additive manufacturing. What I'm recognising now is we're mega growing, is there's not enough housing. We haven't talked much about that this morning. I'm interested in what is the plan for that, in particular for younger people.
Yes.
That want to come to Danville, want to live in modern townhouses. There are some stuff happening, but it's happening very slowly. We hope that we can talk about that sometime in the future.
Yeah, just speaking on behalf of all the discussions we've had, and Rachel's right, the executive committee's been meeting constantly for a year, but that topic has come up along with actually childcare. We've got to include that in the Vision 2050 plan. We've got to figure out what are all the gating factors. We're going to grow. We want to grow even more with this plan and have the right kind of growth and the right kind of good jobs. And so that means we got to think about quality of life and what people are really expecting. And so housing is one of them, and that'll be addressed in the plan. So, great question. I mean, this would be wonderful to be a mega region that puts people first. That would be an amazing thing to be able to say. And I know from the people that work at SIR, it's a constant quest. You gotta keep thinking about benefits and keep thinking about flexibility, and that's what regions have to do. You got to keep thinking, why does someone want to live here? And we've got to be the place that people choose.
I have the mic over here now. Over here.
Okay.
It's kind of to what you just said. Infrastructure and housing are important, but what are we doing about tourism and arts and culture?
Yeah.
Is that anywhere in the plan?
There are a lot of great organizations and even regional initiatives. And so BRIC is not trying to be everything. So I think this particular plan, as we talked about it, is going to be more business related. I mean, BRIC is not going to become a branding agency and brand the region or try to attract tourism, but I think we've got to build a quality place. So I think more of the housing and the child care and the infrastructure are sort of the fundamental pillars that will undermine those hubs that we want to build out. So tourism is critically important, but it's not a top priority for BRIC at the moment. There are other organizations that we're going to default to.
And we're ensuring that their voice is part of this. We have a lot of those leaders in the tourism space that are part of our steering committee.
Yeah. And I would encourage you to look the steering committee, just who's on it already, and listen, anybody else that wants to get on it, come on. I mean, it's one meeting a month, they're virtual, but we've got superintendents of schools on there. We've got some mayors on there. We've got a really wide number of people with diverse backgrounds, and I think that's key.
Good morning.
Yes.
I have more of a public service announcement than a question, but maybe it will spur more questions. In this community, if a home builder wants to be part of a home builder association, they have to join the chapter in Petersburg, Virginia. So for a while, I've been working with the State Home Builders Association and the National Home Builders Association to get their blessing to start a home builders association for Henry County, Pittsylvania County, and Halifax County. So the bylaws have been written, they're being reviewed, and I think that cooperative component to speak to the housing that we need and the regulatory advice that we can get through an association is, it's coming.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
you have a question for me?
Well, I think duly noted, we should think about the construct of Vision 2050. We should think about for each one of those sort of pillars, what are some of the gating factors? So when they start to look into housing, this perhaps is a gating factor that we got to get rid of this barrier. I want to also say, I really applaud the leadership of BRIC in not just as CEOs forming and then storming and like, let's go, and let's start picking on issues and going after them. But let's be thoughtful and really put a game plan together and that really identifies priorities. That was the success of the Richmond Hampton Roads mega region, doing a definitive study, and then identifying priorities like we got to get I-64 widened. That's their number one priority. Now we got to become a global internet hub, and not taking on more than we can deliver on, but being able to be deliberate and know that we got to prove our value proposition to the people who are putting in big money. So that's the same sort of strategy and philosophy I'm seeing with this leadership. All right, one more question.
Good morning.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Good morning. Thank you for your presentation and so forth. I heard you say something about superintendents being on the region on this initiative, and so I just might want to maybe could you speak a little bit about maybe some impact on public education and so forth? We've got some excellent school systems, here. We want to kind of know so we can be prepared and strategically plan to be able to support this initiative as well.
Well, I mean, the fortunate thing is that we have educators in BRIC, which is great. But we also, on the steering committee, have a large contingent of educators at all levels.
From superintendents to community college to higher ed.
Yeah. So we're hoping their voices really sound out. I mean, the steering committee is going to meet ongoing with the consultant that we zero in on, and be hands-on, critiquing and cajoling and inspiring the consultant and bringing in issues just like that. I said, wait a minute, what about education? If it's not one of your core hub scaling strategies, we got to have the right workforce in order to support those hubs. And so what does that mean and how does that show up in our plan? So I think the formative days of the plan are probably just ahead of us in the next 60 days once the consultant comes on board, and we're going to lean on that steering committee to put all the issues on the table.
Yeah, and we think it's so critical because of the impact on workforce training and development and ensuring that we're building that pipeline, but also as we think about the year 2050, it's the kids in school today that we're preparing this future for. And so it's critical that the leadership that's helping shape those young minds are part of this.
And even if you don't want to be on the steering committee, we're going to be sending out updates, and so just sign up for those. And we want everybody to follow this work because it's y'all's work. All right, so we're going to conclude now and turn back to our panel. And I just want to ask each one of you for sort of a wrap-up. What's the one thing you want these folks to take away from this morning? So, Tim, we'll start with you.
I think we owe it to each other to make sure that BRIC works. To make sure that this idea of continued regionalism at a mega level is something that works. I know there's a lot of younger people in the room, right? This room's changed a lot in the 27 years that I've lived here, but you may not remember what it was like in 1999 and how it was pretty tough. Free trade happened, which was great for some businesses, but not great for our economy. Things happened. We could have packed up and walked away. But the leaders of the community at the time, and that continue to be the leaders like Ben and like Haywood in Richmond, they not only withstood, they doubled down. They gathered up folks to get together and meet and try to figure out a path forward. They made a plan. They hired a consultant, made a plan so that we could work our way out. And you look around now at the things that we celebrate now, that maybe a lot of people don't realize that are not from this region. But those are all great accomplishments that we've done by having a plan, developing a plan, and then executing the plan. And that's what we're going to continue to do. We have got to be in this room, the emerging leaders have got to come alongside and be part of that. And when John says, reach out, go on the website, sign up, reach out, look and see what we're doing. This stuff is changing all the time. The website is being updated as we do things, and if it's not, send one of us an email. Reach out to us, give us a call. And if you want to be part of it, if you want to be part of REC, come see us today. Reach out to us. Reach out. If there's somebody else on the executive committee that reach out. Find out what you need to do to be part of it. We want you. We need you to be part of it.
Great. All right, Rachel. One wrap up.
Well, I've been at SIR for 20 years. I've had the privilege of working on a lot of exciting initiatives. I have never been more excited about any project I've ever worked on. This is so exciting. There's incredible momentum. The people at the table are so serious about this, and there's real opportunity for incredible advancement and momentum here, and I'm excited to be on board and hope you'll join us.
All right, Ben.
Well, I stay excited. Sometimes I'm more than other times, but right now I am really excited about this. We got the right folks in SIR leading and keeping us. Frankly, they're working our tails off, and but that's the only way things like this get done. But and thank you for giving us a voice and giving us an opportunity to tell folks what's going on. If you didn't already know, and it's important that we all share the story. I remember the first time 10 years ago we went down to Tupelo, Mississippi to see what in the world was happening down here that it made this such a place that was going. And so I got out and started wandering around the community. I remember going to a convenience store, and I said to the clerk, I said, "So, what's it about this town that makes you excited?" Well, it was like I energized him, and he said, "Let me tell you, this is a happening place." Well, that's what we've got to do. We have got to get people in like Tim said. This only works if we all make this happen and go. And I mean, all we got to do is look around. I mean, listen to the announcements that are being made. We're on a roll. But let me tell you, every morning when I wake up, I think about the challenges that you might be on a roll today, but you got to be ready for the next challenge tomorrow. And you got to stay out in front. So, you can either get on board or miss the train that you're going to say, "Gosh, I wish I'd gotten on and I've been a part of that." You got a chance to be a part. So I hope that you'll take advantage of it. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, a round of applause for our panelists. Okay, we have one last speaker, and
It's me.
okay.
He couldn't be here, so.
And it's
I'm going to close this out, you guys. Let's give our panelists a round of applause. Thank you so much. Thank you.
I just want to close this out today real quick. Just a couple of thank yous and we'll be done. Before we close, I really want to thank our chamber ambassadors this morning that took the time to be here to greet you as you came in. If you're an ambassador, please stand up, please, for the chamber. Yes. Thank you. And our chamber ambassadors, which are led by RAM Management, Ariana, Haley, and Timmy Ramberg, they have directly led to our all-time growth. We're at 620 members, and they are an extension of our office, and I want to thank them personally for all their hard work and effort. So thank you so much. There's one person that came in today that I did not see, and I have to recognize her because she traveled from Richmond. And I see you, Suzanne, blinking your eyes. Stand up. Suzanne Holland with the Federal Reserve Bank of Richmond is here. You didn't know I was going to do that, did you? I like to surprise people. Okay. BTW 21, our partners in the back who are filming today out of Martinsville, Chad, Chris, and your team, thank you so much for being here this morning and filming the event. And finally, I'd like to recognize the chamber team. Crystal, Kedra, you are the engine that makes this run. We would not be here today without your support, your loyalty, your perseverance, true grit. I truly appreciate working with you every day. Thank you. As we celebrate 25 years of regional collaboration and growth, let us remember that this milestone is not just a reflection of the past. It's a launching point for the future. Together, we will continue to strengthen our communities, expand opportunities,